Welcome to Leaders Lead Podcast. Are you ready to conquer your challenges and achieve greatness? Join us as we dive into inspirational stories of industry leaders who have overcome adversity and reached new heights. Get ready for electrifying insights and captivating conversations that will ignite your passions for success. This is your go-to show for empowerment, growth, and leadership. Buckle up. Leaders Lead Podcast is here to take you on a transformational ride. Hey, what's going on? This is Tony Taylor. I am super excited to talk to you today about this message. Let me retract that. Let me go back. I'm not exactly excited to talk to you about this topic. I'm talking to you today about anxiety and how anxiety can affect you as a leader, how anxiety can affect you as an entrepreneur. I get messages from people on a daily basis, and they're responding maybe from something that I said or something that I wrote in a blog or an article or a podcast about me working through my anxiety, me working through my fear of public speaking. And I just thought that it was pretty weird that I had never did a podcast episode on my anxiety, the anxiety that I've covered or the anxiety that's covered me throughout my whole life while I was an inspiring leader, while I started this journey and becoming an entrepreneur. I've been really open about the fact of not knowing what the heck I was doing when starting a business. That's why I started the podcast. But as of the last couple years, I've slowly started to kind of peel back some of the things that I struggled with growing. You know, I said, yeah, I have a fear of public speaking, and people would reach out to me and I would tell them my stories and give them some of the strategies that I've been able to use throughout the year, but I've never really discussed this on my podcast. And I think that it is a grave disservice, not only to you, the listeners, the viewers, but it is a grave disservice to myself, because I have been able to do some really incredible things. But for those of you that don't know, anxiety is a natural response to stress. It's categorized by worrying, nervousness, or fear. Most of us, we deal with it, but it becomes really problematic when it's excessive or it's persistent, if it's affecting your daily life. Most of the people that reach out to me, they tell me that, you know, before I get ready to speak on stage, I could just feel my heart rate. I start getting dizzy. I start trembling. Those are some of the physical responses that you get from having anxiety. For me, it would be all of the above. But the thing that I would suffer from, that I thought that was the absolute worst, was me sweating. I would profusely start sweating. I would think that was just the grossest thing in the world. Imagine pitching your business, your service, your products, and you have somebody that's sweating. You would genuinely think that this person is sweating because they're nervous, or they're sweating because, yeah, they're nervous, and they're nervous because they don't know what they're doing. And that was one of my worries, man. I knew my shit, but I had this anxiety thing that I hid, and I hid it for a very long time. I mean, I went through working and living my life as a corporate. I worked in corporate for many years. I was the position of director. I was getting ready to get promoted to vice president. Nobody knew about my anxiety. I would say my mom, my sister, my wife, my kids, they knew that I had anxiety, but I hid it, man. I was hiding in plain sight. And I'm doing this podcast because, and I'm speaking out about it, and I'm going to continue to talk about it because so many people, they struggle with it and they're hiding. Some people, they're not hiding in plain sight. They're not doing the things that they want to do. They're not doing the things that they should be doing. They're not serving the way that they're capable of serving because they're letting this worry, they're letting this fear really get into them. And I want to encourage you, if you're one of those people that have this $1 million idea, you're one of those people that know that you're sitting on something that could really serve and benefit people, but you have this fear that's affecting your life, this fear that's affecting your family, this fear that's affecting your business. I want to encourage you to get support with that, right? So how do you know if you need to get support? Like, what are some of the signs? I talked a little bit already about the increased heart rate, the sweating, the trembling, the dizziness. When we're talking about the emotional side of it, do you suffer from severe apprehension or restlessness? Are you very irritable cognitively? You're worrying as so excessively that you can't do the work that you know that you've been called to do? Are you having difficulty concentrating while you're doing the work that you know that you've been called to do, to serve the people that you've been put on this earth to serve? Behaviorally, are you avoiding those anxiety-inducing situations? So think about that. Think about how it affects your life right now. Think about how and if it's stopping you from getting to your goals, getting to the things that you know that you need to achieve. I'll tell you a personal story really quick. I was just telling my sister this the night before last, and she was just like, "Oh my God, I had no idea." I was telling her the story on how almost every holiday, we have a really, really big family, and we would get together on Christmas, Thanksgiving, no matter what holiday it was, like we would all get together. And on the way there to these places, I would start, not to these places, but to my relative's house, I would start to get a headache. I would get migraines, like severe migraines. And that's because I was worrying obsessively about the worst things that could happen. And with that worrying, I had so much shame that I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell anybody about the fears that I had. And I would often find myself at these family gatherings on the other side, hiding behind the coats. You know how when you have a big family, you can't, everybody, they come in the house, they can't take their coats and put it on the coat rack in front of the door. So there's always a room in somebody's house where the coats are at. And in our case, there would be mountains of coats on a bed. And I would be on the other side of the bed, usually by the wall, on the floor, hiding. And it's interesting. As I think about that, I think about you. I think about What amazing idea do you have right now to where you're hiding like me on the side of the coats? Imagine if I would have told somebody about these irrational fears that I was having. Imagine if I would have got the support that I needed at that time. Imagine if you were able to get the support that you need while you're going through the times where you feel anxiety, where you feel stressed. Some of us, it affects us in the workplace like no other. Some of us, we're getting challenged like no other because we have this stress, we have this pressure of getting to the next promotion. A lot of the people that I'm connected with, they have a fear of public speaking. They have a fear of not just public speaking, but they have a fear of being seen. How many of you have a fear of being seen? And that fear that you have is holding you back from your next promotion. That fear that you have is holding you back from letting the world know about the amazing product or service that you have. How many of you are hiding behind the coats? So I really want you to think about that. And if you are hiding behind the coats, I want you to just imagine a place where you could use your voice. Imagine a scenario where you stepped out. You follow your dream. You follow your passion, that thing that you've been called to do, those people that you've been called to serve. Imagine how amazing that's going to feel. Not only for you, but for them, if you got some support. So what does support look like? For me, I maintain myself by, I'm always listening to amazing audiobooks that help me with that. There's this book called the Anxiety and Phobia Workbook by Edmund J. Bourne. It is amazing. It is a comprehensive guide. It'll give you some practical strategies for managing anxiety and overcoming phobias. There's another book that I wrote. Another book that I read. It's called Feeling Good. This is the New Mood in Therapy. It's by David Burns. That is pretty freaking good. It'll give you some cognitive and behavioral techniques so that you can combat anxiety and depression. There's another book called Dare. I have not read this book, but I heard that it is pretty good. And Dare is the new way to end anxiety and stop panic attacks. That's by Barry McDonough. That is supposed to be a really good book. Here's some websites that you can take a look at. One of my favorite websites is anxiety.org, or you can also go to the Anxiety and Depression Association of America. That's ADAA.org. Again, that is ADAA.org. There's some hotlines that you can call if you're you're in a situation to where your anxiety has overtaken you. You can dial 1-800-950-NAMI. That's NAMI. So what that will look like is 1-800-950-6264. And that is to the National Alliance of Mental Illness Helpline. And if you're one of my friends that, you need some support, you're struggling with using your voice when it comes to public speaking, you don't know how to properly communicate, whether it's meetings, interviews, or presentations. I doubt that you don't know how to do that. I'm pretty sure that you do it and you can do it very well. But if you need some support and understanding and realize the beauty and brilliance in your voice, I encourage you to go to speakuniversity.org, and I'll give you the support that you need. We are doing some amazing things for people, especially introverts that have a fear of public speaking. You never knew how beautiful your voice sounded until you heard it for the very first time, the way that it was meant to sound. It's almost like taking a mirror or walking up to a mirror and looking at yourself and realizing the beauty that you hear. We have some students, they come to us. Some, they say, oh, I don't like the way that I sound because English isn't my first language. And some of the other students and people in our community that marveled by how beautiful some of these people sound. And it's just like, until they know it, until they feel it, it doesn't matter. Are you in a situation like that, to where you think that the things that you feel, the things that you say, the things that you talk about, that the way that you want to serve, you don't know how to do it? You feel like your voice is not being heard. You're purposely not letting your voice be heard. Go check out speakuniversity.org. And I think that's it on anxiety. If there's something else, there's some different strategies that you feel like that you need additional support in, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm Tony at info@TonyTaylorInspires.com. That's info@TonyTaylorInspires.com. And I think that is it. I'll see you later, my friends. Thank you for allowing me to travel with you on your journey. I want to say thank you for the things that you're doing, the things that you've done, and the things that you're going to do, because I know that you're going to do something truly amazing. Remember, I'm here to stand by you as you chase your dreams, lead with greatness, and continue to make a difference. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so that you can be notified every time we drop a new episode. I'll see you next time on Leaders Lead the Podcast. Peace.